Writing in the Irish Times this week, Tadhg Daly, the Chief Executive of Nursing Homes Ireland, stated his clear view that nursing homes now face an existential threat and a crisis that is putting the entire viability of the sector at risk. We know from data collected by the NHI that in the last 3 years, an astonishing 31 private and voluntary nursing homes have closed, equating to a loss of 915 beds in the sector. In 2022 alone, 18 nursing homes closed and just 4 new nursing homes opened, and that trend, unfortunately, is not slowing down. This situation is not helped by the fact that, as a recent comparative analysis has shown, in County Offaly, the price per week of a HSE-run nursing home was €1,959, while private nursing homes fees were over €900 less than standing at €1,009. With respect to County Laois, the situation is even more striking, with HSE nursing homes charging an average of €2,585 in comparison to €1,039 for a privately run facility. The clear demographic trajectory here also adds another important context to this debate. As Mr Daly pointed out, the number of people aged 85 and over increased by 25% between 2016 and 2022. Indeed, in the next 20 years, this demographic is forecast to double and will be most dependent on requirement for the person-centred round-the-clock care provided by nursing homes. Imagine the astonishment then, Taoiseach, when providers woke to the news at the start of this month that government intends on lifting the ban on private nursing homes becoming refugee centres. I appreciate, as Philip Ryan has noted in The Independent, that operators will first have to provide HIQA with 6 months' notice of their decision to close and undergo an 18-month cooling-off period to give residents and staff time to make alternative arrangements. Unfortunately, however, when you combine these issues together, the threat to this sector and the slew of closures, it becomes absolutely clear that there will be nowhere else for our vulnerable elderly people to go. Taoiseach, you have said that our older people will not be left in the lurch, but what are you basing that upon? Are you aware of the massive levels of additional capacity that exist in the system? Because I would like you to tell me where that capacity can be found. Very many of our loved ones, and perhaps some of us here today, may come to need the expert care of the nursing home sector. But when the viability and the very future of the sector is under the kind of pressure that it is under today, it may be a need that will go unmet, with all of the personal and health consequences that that brings. Taoiseach, Nursing Homes Ireland are calling for immediate action to be taken to stem the tide of closures, and I would like you to provide me with your plan on how that can be achieved, especially in the context of the policy change that allows for former nursing homes to be completely taken out of the system and repurposed as refugee accommodation centres.
Thanks, Deputy, and I want to thank Deputy Nolan for raising this very important issue. And I do want to acknowledge that there are nursing homes around the country that are under financial pressure, and some have closed. At the same time, there are others that are making substantial profits and are opening, and new nursing homes are opening around the country, as well as nursing homes closing. In fact, last year we'd a net gain in the number of beds in nursing homes, the total number of beds in nursing homes, and so far this year we're seeing that happen again. More nursing home beds opening than closing. Acknowledging that some are closing, but also others are opening. In relation to using former nursing homes to accommodate refugees or people seeking international protection, we're very strictly saying that can only happen after 2 years, and that's to make sure that no nursing home owner makes a decision to close a nursing home in order to turn it into refugee accommodation or IP accommodation. And I know you didn't say as Deputy, but there are people going around making out somehow that nursing home operators are shutting down with a view to making more money from providing accommodation to refugees or IP applicants. That's not true. It's not fair. It's not a nice conspiracy theory to be putting around the place, quite frankly, because it's not the case. That's why we're requiring that they have to be closed for 2 years, that the person who owned it has to essentially have no income from it for 2 years, or even have to dispose of it. And I don't think any nursing home is going to close down with the view to making a better return from refugee accommodation. We won't allow that to happen, Deputy. Just in relation to the fair deal more widely, overall the budget for nursing homes through the fair deal is €1.4 billion a year now, assisting up over 22,000 people. It's increased by a further 100 million this year to 223 million, and budget 2023 saw over 40 million in additional funding for the nursing home support scheme, the fair deal, to provide an uplift in the maximum prices chargeable by private and voluntary nursing homes as negotiated. It is imperative that private and voluntary providers continue to engage in the process that's set out in the scheme, and we are conscious of the financial challenges that many of them face, and we've provided substantial additional funding to private and voluntary nursing homes over the course of the pandemic and in recent years. That includes 149 million through the Temporary Assistance Payment Scheme, which is TAPS, the provision of PPE and oxygen, costing the state €75 million, and also the new TIPS scheme, which was established last year to help private and voluntary nursing homes with increases in energy costs, and that covered 75% of the year-on-year increase in costs, with a monthly cap of over 5,000 per nursing home.
Nolan.
Well, good, Taoiseach. I thank you for your response. Taoiseach, there's not enough new nursing homes opening to meet the capacity demands that are coming down the tracks. Now, we're all very aware in here that Ireland has an ageing population. That's a fact. That's a reality. It's a reality we need to plan for and be prepared for. But there is serious concern among people. Genuine concern, well-founded concern. And the fact of the matter is that it was government's policy, the very policy to lift the ban, that has pitted one vulnerable group against another vulnerable group in society, which is wrong. These beds must be safeguarded. And I would like to know what measures or what plans you're going to put in place to ensure that there is capacity in the future. We have to plan, and we have to plan now, to make sure that there is a capacity to meet emergency. And this is an emergency coming down the tracks, and it is we need an emergency response. We need a pragmatic solution that does not have a dangerous policy that pits one vulnerable group against another vulnerable group. Carol Nolan.
Thank you.
Yeah, Deputy, I absolutely agree we shouldn't do that. So please make sure in your remarks and the remarks that other people who support you make that they don't do that either, because it's not right to create that kind of impression that somehow older people are going to be turfed out of nursing homes. Well, look. I leave it at that, Cancard. I think we. Well, I'll answer your question here, but nobody in this chamber is naive to the subtext of what's going on here. But I'll answer your question. But I will answer. I will answer your question. Deputy,
will you please allow the Taoiseach to respond?
If he responds directly.
There are nursing homes that are closing. They tend to be smaller nursing homes that would need a lot of investment to continue. There are also new nursing homes that are opening. They tend to be larger. They tend to be state-of-the-art. And overall, the number of beds available in nursing homes is increasing. It increased by 88 last year. It's increased by 161 so far this year. That's what's happening.